It is the Michael Beasley clip, which I love the most. All right, next. Yeah. Miss fundamentals. Pistons inbounding underneath, and Derrick Rose makes a mess out of it. Vince, what happened there to D. Rose?
So looking at that, and I watched it a couple of times, and I just had to figure out, like, what happened? And so he had already committed to making that pass, and he took a step forward. So he didn't want to travel.
Right.
So Stan Van Gundy told us back in the day when I played for the Magic, he said, if you're going to do a jump pass, you jump in the air, and you don't have anybody to pass to, he said, just throw the ball in the stands so we can at least set our defense. So this is kind of like the same idea. It's like he didn't know where to throw the ball, so he just dropped it and look, head down and walked on back to the other end.
There you go. Well, it is a good strategy if you get caught up in the air. Just, let's get set on the other end.
Yeah,
next.
Just let it go.
Next. Make the hot hand. No Paul George, no Kawhi, no problem. Nick Batum dropped 18 points. Yeah. All his field goals were three-pointers. So, Vince, we'll go back to you. How underrated has Batum's signing been?
I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around. He's been knocking down shots, very reliable for a very long time, even from his Portland days. He didn't play very well, and early in Charlotte, he played well and kind of tailed off. So I guess it's a great pickup for the Clippers, having another veteran who knows how to play and very savvy.
Well, I'll tell you this. He's been the unsung hero for the Clippers.
Yep.
He has cemented himself in the starting role so much that Ty Lue has to bring Marcus Morris off the bench as the sixth man. That's the effect that Nicholas Batum has had on the L.A. Clipper team.
No doubt. Let's move on. Miss basketball. Back to the D. The hoop had a lid on it for the Lakers. Perk, is this just a late January in Detroit type of night for the Lakers or what? Look at this.
Well, I think the Lakers were just in cruise control. And look, George, They was whooping on everybody, beating everybody by double figures, and they get relaxed. Sometimes you need that humble pie, and that's what they got to do. Rose played good, and we finally saw Blake Griffin sight.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin finally came to play. Wow, he's been missing since the Clipper day.
Vince, what'd you think?
Yeah, I agree with Perk. I think, you come into this game and you see who you playing and you're just like, we're going to cruise and we can turn it up when they want to. But they gave the Pistons a little too much life and couldn't quite turn it back up. But I don't think it's of concern. These guys are champions and they know how they need to play to get in gear.
Yeah, look, I agree with you guys. I think that this is a team that is fifth game of a road trip, right, of 7 games. You guys, more so than anyone, would know how that feels. I'm asking you this. Anthony Davis has been very critical of his own play here over the last several weeks. And I know he put up decent numbers yesterday, but he's talked about, I guess, his lack of impact at times. 2 nights ago, he had good numbers against Philly. He didn't play yesterday. But Perk, what have you made of Anthony Davis's play thus far?
Well, it hasn't been up to the standard that I thought AD was going to come out to this year. Now, he's still a guy that's going to give you 22 points a game because he's just that talented. But I actually had Anthony Davis winning the MVP this season in my preseason pick, and he's been disappointing me. But, I think right now what Anthony Davis is doing and what the Lakers are doing, he has a couple of nicks and bruises, and they're making sure that he's healthy with a shortened offseason, that he could remain healthy throughout the course of the season. And
it looks like we lost Perk.
To make sure.
No, you're there. You're there. That's my bad, Perk. It's all good. Let's do this.
I'm right here, George. I ain't going nowhere.
Okay, cool. I'm here with you. Here, let's do this. Speaking of Anthony Davis, after the break, our fearless leader, Rachel Nichols, she sat down with Anthony Davis ahead of the big. Take us through your selections, starting out west. What do we got here?
Well, first of all, you got LeBron James, right? I mean, think about it. He's playing at an extremely high level, at an MVP type level, so that was a no-brainer. You look at Stephen Curry, a guy that probably if he wasn't playing with the Warriors, they probably would not have won the game this season. So almost averaging 30 points a game. Look at what Dame Lillard is doing, being the Dame Dollar that we know, putting up almost 30 points a night. And then you talk about Big Jokic, the Joker. his number speaks for himself. Jamal Murray hasn't been playing up to par like we expected him to play. We thought he was going to take a tremendous leap this year after what we saw in the bubble, and he hasn't. So Jokic has been carrying this Denver Nugget team, and I would never question a great Greg Popovich again. When he make a comparison like he did saying that Jokic is the new Larry Bird, I believe him, okay? And then Paul George. I know everybody want to talk about Kawhi Leonard, and rightfully so, but Paul George is having one of the best seasons of his career.
Yeah.
He's shooting 50, 49, 50, 48 from the three and 90 from the line to some ridiculous stat number like that. And he's playing some inspiring basketball. And guess what? He took a lot of heat in the bubble. He took a lot of heat this offseason. He said that people were going to pay on the All the Smoke podcast, and he's showing up. So not only is he talking the talk, but he's walking the walk. And that's how I selected my all-star starters in the Western Conference. Do you and Vince got a problem with it, George?
Okay, let's go with Vince first. Vince, what do you think about Perk's selections?
I like the selection. There's only one person that is kind of question, if you would, and it's Paul George. And everything you say is 1,000% correct. But what about that guy in Dallas by the name of Luka Doncic? He's almost having a triple-double, doing what he needs to do. And I just feel like he is playing great basketball, and he's improving and getting better as well.
Right.
He's played more games and has a better average as well. But, it's one of those things, it's just, either you like this way or you like it that way. I just think Luka Doncic is playing at an all-star level. Yes, he was already in the running for MVP coming into the season, and he's living up to it. He's playing some great basketball as well.
Well, George, I hear you saying right. Do you second that?
Well, no, I think that Luka is in the conversation. I probably wouldn't put him over any of those guys that you have at the moment. But the one guy, if I had to think of one guy that I think was also omitted on that list, and I don't have a big problem with your list, but Spider Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell has been fantastic. He's on the #1 team in the Western Conference. I know this may be blasphemous because I think Steph Curry is a transformational, transcendent talent. But if we're talking about this particular season, okay, I may put Donovan Mitchell in there ahead of Steph this particular season. But I ain't going to fight you on it. Well, first of all, I would never fight you because you'd kill me. But number two, I wouldn't fight you on it because it's just close to me. Like, I mean, if you went with Steph, I ain't going to argue too much.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me say this, George, and you have a great point. But when you look at the Utah Jazz, they have a good team. They have a great team. So when you look at their stat line, they have guys, 6 or 7 guys every night that are finishing in double-figure points. And no knock on Spider, but he has had an up-and-down season. And you have guys like Jordan Clarkson, who has been like a 6th Man of the Year candidate, who has been helping the Jazz win games. Now, Vince, let me get to you on your point about Luka. Yes, Luka is putting up those monster numbers that's showing up in the stat sheet. But what I want Luka to do is to start showing the world that he can make winning plays that don't show up in the stat sheet. Because here's the problem that I have. Everybody criticizes